Right, I'm starting now. Hi everyone, welcome to your December 2023 horoscopes. Today I'm doing something a little bit different to what I normally do, which means I'll be going through all 12 signs in this one video rather than doing my usual 12 individual horoscopes. So I'll be going through from Aries to the end, which is Pisces. Sorry, Pisces, that you're always last. After this horoscope, I will add timestamps so you can flick around to watch your sun, moon, and rising. I would really recommend that you do watch your big three, which is your sun, moon, and rising. And that is because watching all three will give you a really good idea of what you can expect for the month ahead. So this will be a tropical astrology reading, and I will be using the whole sign system. Now, before I get into it, I just want to let you know that I have an exciting announcement to share with you, and that is that I've finally finished my 2023 yearly horoscopes. So you can head to the website, which is in the description below, to purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope. And again, I would recommend that you watch your ascendant, sun, and moon sign. But if you are only going to watch one horoscope, whether that is in this free reading today being December 2022, or for your 2023 yearly horoscopes, generally speaking, the ascendant sign is the most accurate overall. So let's get into it. Today I'll be covering the full moon in Gemini. I'll also be looking at Jupiter re-entering the sign of Aries, and I'll be covering the new moon in Capricorn, as well as the Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, which will start at the end of the month. So first of all, I want to talk about the general energies of the full moon and the new moon and the Mercury retrograde. So this full moon in Gemini will be taking place at 16 degrees. What's really interesting about this one is that it is exactly conjunct Mars, which is retrograde in Gemini. So generally speaking, we say that full moons indicate a chapter coming to a close, or some kind of cycle ending or reaching its peak. Because Mars is retrograde, to me this indicates that it's something that you thought was already done. Okay, so with this being in the sign of Gemini, this could relate to communications, whether that is a project, a writing piece, or even film, whether you're a YouTuber or you make documentaries, essentially something that is connected to communications. That can also be like technology. That can include vehicles as well, short education courses, whether you're taking them or hosting them, or this could be to do with receiving a certain qualification. So that could be like a diploma or a certification or a license of some sort. So some of you may be having to go back and work on these areas that you thought were already done and dusted. And just by the way, sorry, with the date, the full moon will take place on the 8th of December. Okay, so to be fair, we're already sort of heading towards full moon energy anyway, so you may have some level of awareness of what this is. And the full moon energy can be felt about 2 weeks before and up to 2 weeks later. So let's say 2 weeks on either side of the 8th of December. So this particular full moon, like I said, will be in Gemini at 16 degrees. Now, in terms of the aspects that it is making, the strongest aspect is that conjunction to Mars, but it is also opposing Venus in Sagittarius. It is squaring Neptune in Pisces, and it's actually making a trine to Saturn in Aquarius. So essentially, we've got this collection of tense aspects which pose let's say challenge, or in some instances problematic energy, but then there is this support from Saturn, where it's like, this is kind of the final time that you have to deal with this. But like I said, it is kind of dredging something up from the past. Please, please be careful on the roads, especially while the moon is in Gemini. Okay, so that'll be from about the 7th of December to the 9th of December, and especially on the full moon itself on the 8th. And that is because Gemini is connected to transportation, whether this is you driving your own car or you taking public transport. So, even riding motorbikes as well, any kind of vehicle action. And because it's squaring Neptune as well, I would even go so far as to include like water travel. Okay, so if you're on a jet ski, on a boat, etc. So be extremely careful around this time. That includes just accidents, right? Whether someone's being careless on the roads or whether you are. But on a different level, this can just signify like a breakdown when it comes to your car. So if you have to get to the airport by a certain time, I would just allow extra time for you to arrive. Now, Jupiter is re-entering the sign of Aries just before Christmas. So that will be on the 20th of December. I'm not going to go too much into this in terms of like a global impact. I'll talk more about how Jupiter re-entering Aries will apply or affect each sign as I go through the 12 horoscopes. This is just a little bit of a preamble before I start with Aries. So with Jupiter re-entering Aries on the 20th of December, just as a general statement, for many of you, something that you started around May, if not June, can be picked back up. And that's because Jupiter first entered Aries on the 10th of May. So let's just say, for some of you, depending where you have depending where you have Aries in your chart, maybe you had a new creative idea, maybe there was a business venture that you wanted to start, maybe this was connected to travel or education or something to do with spirituality or even sports, because Aries rules over sports. If you had certain ideas that you wanted to take forwards, and maybe you had the concept or you kind of had the blueprint for what you wanted to do, but you haven't actually pushed that through, Jupiter re-entering Aries on the 20th of December is really going to allow you to tap into that energized and motivational energy that Jupiter and Aries can bring. So I'm personally very excited for Jupiter to re-enter Aries because I have Aries on my midheaven and Jupiter is squaring the crap out of my ascendant at the moment. So on a different note, Aries is connected to positions of leadership and power. So there may be areas of your life where you can be a leader and really step up to the plate. Now, on the 23rd of December, there will be a new moon in Capricorn at 1 degrees. And this will actually be making an exact square to Jupiter in Aries. So this particular new moon in Capricorn has very, what's the word? Capricorn's a cardinal sign, so it has this cardinal enterprising, entrepreneurial energy to it. And because it's at 1 degrees, this is actually the Aries degree. Okay, so we're going to be even more inspired to start something new. And Capricorn is connected to our career. I'm so sorry, someone just started mowing their lawn. I really hope you guys can't hear that. It's too late, we're already live. Anyway, so this new moon in Capricorn at 1 degrees can see you wanting to put your hand up for a promotion, try something new when it comes to work. You may be trying to advance your professional status or reputation. And even if you're retired, even if you're not working, for some of you, this could be connected to becoming a parent, because Capricorn is part of the parental axes, or this could be to do with taking on a position of leadership. And that's because Capricorn rules over all positions of leadership. So even if this is you becoming, joining the board on your country club, that's still a position of leadership. So that, once again, will be on the 23rd of December, but we can really be feeling that energy like 2 weeks before, if not 2 weeks after. Okay, so lastly, we're going to be looking at Mercury being retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. So Mercury will station retrograde in Capricorn on the 29th of December, and it will be retrograde until the 18th of January in 2022. It will be retrograding between 24 degrees back to 13 degrees. Okay, so if you are a Capricorn, an Aries, a Libra, or a Cancer between 13 and 24 degrees, you guys are going to feel this the most, because this will be either conjuncting, opposing, or squaring you, and that is indicating the 4 axes points, or the 4 angular houses, I should say, in your birth chart, and bonus points if one of the cardinal signs, so one of those 4 signs, is your ascendant. Now, with Mercury being retrograde, first of all, this happens at least 3 times a year, if not 4 times a year. So we're not a stranger to this energy. To be fair, the last time we had Mercury retrograde in Capricorn was at the beginning of this year in 2022, and Venus went retrograde in Capricorn at the same time. So it's like same but different energy. All right, we won't have Venus retrograde at the same time, but Mars is retrograde at the same time. So this will be an extremely chaotic period. I don't want to sugarcoat that at all. This Mercury retrograde will be more intense than normal, and that's because Mars is also retrograde. Okay, so with Mars being retrograde already from the end of October through till the 12th of January, you guys probably already feel like we're in this Mercury retrograde energy. That is just going to be stacked on top as we approach the end of December. Now, there is a 2-week pre-shadow period and a 2-week post-shadow period. What that means is that literally from the middle of December, you'll start being like, whoa, this is I'm feeling this Mercury retrograde. So let's just see, on a personal level, Mercury retrograde can indicate there being some big changes, rethinking, not necessarily making the changes, but you can really be rethinking what you want to do for work, what your responsibilities are, what your duties are. For many of you, this can indicate reconsidering which relationships you are in an official capacity, whether that's work relationships, romantic relationships, or even friendships. And I'm saying this because Capricorn, which we can see here, Capricorn represents the highest point of visibility. So with Mercury being a relationship planet as well as Venus, it's like, who we're affiliated with, what connections are known and out there. We can really be considering who we want to be doing business with, so to speak. So now let's just see if there's anything else on a global level for Mercury retrograde. I mean, honestly, there's going to be changes in government. Let's say former leaders or people who held particular, let's say, positions in office, or even to do with politics. There can be some changes here where it's like people are reprising their roles. People are coming out of the woodwork to run for a certain political seat again, or we're just hearing from old leaders, old people in positions of power. I hope that makes sense. So it's basically like Capricorn represents people at the top of their game. That doesn't mean that they're amazing. It just means like influential people who are very well known, whether they are known for doing good or for doing bad, these people can really be making the news, especially if they are a Capricorn, if they have a Capricorn midheaven or a Capricorn ascendant or sun. When we have Mercury retrogrades in Capricorn, we often see a lot of stuff coming out about the royal family. So I'm wondering whether certain information about the Queen and her legacy and her wishes, especially for Charles, will be coming out and being revealed. Mercury retrograde in Capricorn is great for exposing any kind of corruption in government. So anyway, that's just a little something on a global level. So now I'm going to start off with Aries, and feel free to keep track of the timestamps if you can be bothered. If not, don't worry, I'm going to go back and add them all. So if you are an Aries ascendant, sun, or moon, this is going to be a very exciting month for you, as we have Jupiter re-entering Aries. That's absolutely the highlight for Aries this month. Nevertheless, I'm going to go in order. So on the 8th of December, we've got that full moon in Gemini, which is in your third house. So this can see you completing a work project, finishing a writing piece or a documentary, completing a course, taking a test, or taking an exam. For many of you, this completion, if you will be something that you've maybe tried to attempt multiple times over. Okay, so maybe you'd already taken this test or this exam and then you have to resit it. It could be that there's further, let's say, hurdles or hoops that you have to jump through to receive certain qualifications or a certification of sorts. This can see you experiencing issues with your vehicles, okay? And I know I mentioned that in the general piece for December, but because Aries individuals have the usual 12-house system without there being any changes, there is going to be some overlap there. Anyway, this full moon will impact you more than most full moons, and that is because it is conjunct Mars, and Mars is your chart ruler. Okay, so this is you and your personal effort that you're putting into these matters. Worst case scenario is that this can lead to certain let's say tensions or even disagreements or arguments with friends, with co-workers, potentially clients, and also siblings and relatives. Not that I want to put that upon you, it's just that, first of all, the third house rules over all those individuals, and so does the sign of Gemini itself. Now, for some of you, because Mars is retrograde, this can see you actually resolving an issue or resolving an argument. So I'm just going to make two distinctions here. If there are no outstanding issues or tensions that you've been experiencing, then tensions can be running high, especially around the 8th of December. If you've had a long-standing issue with a sibling, a relative, a friend, a co-worker, or a client, or even a neighbor, then you can resolve them and you can be like, oh, we can work together. I know how to make this work. I finally understand where this person is coming from. With Mars being retrograde and it being your ruling planet, I'm very inclined to think that this is going to be you guys who are like, oh, maybe I could have done things differently. Maybe I was in the wrong, or maybe you're just going to be like rewinding or backpedaling on certain issues, especially if they've been contentious or, controversial in terms of your, the dialogue that you've been having with these individuals. Do be careful, especially as Aries, when it comes to public transport and just, being out on the roads in general. Even if you're like walking along a main highway, I'd still be extra careful, just because Mars retrograde in Gemini conjunct the full moon it's like, this is when people can be crazy on the roads, even if you're not behind the wheel or sitting in some kind of vehicle. Okay, so you can definitely complete a major work. Maybe this is you finally getting to the end of editing an important book. Like a first draft, or something to do with like an essay. Maybe you're finishing off a website. There could be issues with your existing website or an app or a piece of technology that you've developed, and it's like, oh, damn, now I have to like go in and tweak it. But then with the full moon, you can finally rectify an issue in that department. Just something to be aware of is that there may be like there is a possibility that your passwords or accounts are a bit more vulnerable at this time. I'm not saying that, every Aries is going to get hacked. I'm just saying this may be a time where you want to change your passwords and make sure that your systems are more, or that your passwords are more secure. Maybe you want to enable like a two-factor authentication. My dad works in IT security, so I'm always hearing about this stuff. Anyway, you just want to be careful about that. Let's get to the good stuff. On the 20th of December, Jupiter will re-enter Aries, which means it will be re-entering your first house. It will be in Aries in your first house until the middle of May. Okay, so 15th, 16th of May in 2022. So this is amazing for all Aries. This can see you feeling more motivated, more energized, more optimistic, more hopeful for the future. This can actually present travel opportunities. Now, if you are a moon in Aries person, this travel opportunity could be related to property, whether you're looking to buy property, maybe you're looking to purchase abroad, maybe you'll be visiting family or friends overseas because it is a relationship planet. Could even be like a romantic fling and you're, visiting this person overseas. On a different note, you could, I don't know if I said this already, but if you're a moon in Aries person, you could actually be like physically moving overseas within the next 5 months. So it's like maybe you had plans about this that either started around May, June, if not July, or maybe you're going to start thinking about this as we move into Christmas. So the first 5 months from the 20th of December, and it's like, maybe I should actually look into this. So that's if you're a moon in Aries person. If you're a sun in Aries person, travel opportunities are more likely to be connected to your work, anything to do with career, or achieving your big life goals or pursuing your big life goals. Maybe this is something that's on your bucket list. Maybe you think it's going to help you creatively speaking to do this. If you're an Aries ascendant, also known as rising, well, Jupiter in Aries can see you traveling for a whole bunch of reasons. It doesn't need to necessarily be narrowed down. Jupiter in Aries, regardless of if you're a sun, moon, or rising, can indicate there being education and teaching opportunities or studying opportunities, whether you are the one who's studying something or whether you're being some kind of teacher or mentor. For some of you, this can see you becoming published during this period of time, or maybe landing a publishing contract, or there's a deal there to be done. So with, let's say, a publishing agent or agency. This can see you working in import and export, or just feeling like, you are able to reach a wider audience, even if your business is not connected to import and export. This can see you being regarded as a more respectable and influential figure. You can simply just have more clarity about your future. And also, Jupiter transiting your sign is a strong indicator for falling pregnant. I would say that this is more for Moon in Aries people and Sun in Aries people. Sorry, I meant to say Moon in Aries and Aries Ascendant. But if you really resonate with your Aries Sun, you know, don't let what I'm saying stop you, or don't rule it out necessarily, because, you know, this is a general reading after all. So now okay, I was going to do about 8 to 10 minutes per sign. It looks like we're already at 9 minutes. All right, so the new moon in Capricorn in your 10th house, this can indicate there being a new idea for your work, for your public reputation, for what you want to be known as. So this can see you applying for a new job. This can see you applying for a promotion, or you may just be deciding that you want to become self-employed. The new moons don't necessarily indicate the acquisition of such things. It's more like we have an awareness of it. We're planting the seed. We're realizing that this is what we might want to do. Now, this particular new moon, let's see, we're also going to have Venus and Mercury in Capricorn at the same time. So this, again, indicates that relationship potential is there, that collaboration potential is there. This new moon in Capricorn is squaring Jupiter in Aries in your first house. So to me, this represents you having a new goal, something that you want to achieve, which could be quite adventurous. It could take a lot of courage. It could require study or travel or life experience or wisdom. You know, again, buzzwords for Jupiter there. So it could even be an awareness of a long-term plan, or even short-term or mid-term, but it's like we're in that planning mode. So this particular new moon in Capricorn will be especially powerful if you are in Aries between literally like 0 degrees and 3, 4, or even 5 degrees. Now, lastly, let's have a look at the Mercury retrograde. So Mercury will station retrograde in Capricorn in your 10th house on the 29th of December, and it will be retrograde between 24 degrees back to 30 degrees. You'll be feeling this a lot more strongly. This can see you reconsidering what you want to do for work. You could be going back in to have an important conversation with your boss or with someone who's in a high level of management. For some of you, you could be having a second or third interview. So there could just be this opportunity for you to pursue one of your goals. And you could also be reconsidering what you want to be known for. You could be retitling certain communications pieces or work projects, especially because Mercury rules over your 3rd house and your 6th house. This will be a 3-week period of time where there's just so much going on in your career and in terms of your high level of responsibilities and duties, you know, regardless of where you work, who you work for. Some of you could be re-entering the workforce. Let's just say that you're retired, okay, you're not working anymore, you don't have any plans to go back to work, whatever, that's fine. This can just see you redefining what you want to be known for and what your goals and dreams are and your aspirations are when it comes to the legacy that you want to leave behind. So Aries, if you want to know more about let's say your horoscopes, I would recommend that you look at purchasing your 2023 yearly horoscope, because it's literally like an hour and 45 minutes long, and I go into really explicit details about all of the major transits that will be affecting you in 2023. So you can purchase yours by heading to the link in the description box below. Aries, I hope you enjoy your December 2022, and I'll see you in my next video. So now I'm going to move on to Taurus, but first I have accidentally brewed the crap out of this tea for over 35 minutes. So it's still warm, amazingly. All right, so this is for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants. I'm a Taurus Sun as well, if you guys don't know. I just like to let you guys know you're my people. So, on the 8th of December, there will be a full moon in Gemini in your second house at 16 degrees. So, because this is in your second house, which is connected to money and finances and resources, this can see you having successfully generated a new form of income or a new stream of income. So for some of you, this can see you selling certain products, or you could acquire certain valuables or possessions. Because Mars is retrograde in this particular new moon, and it's conjunct the new moon, this indicates that money that you thought was lost could be coming back to you, especially because Mars rules over your 12th house, which is connected to big expenses and financial losses. With Mars ruling over your 7th house, and that being connected to one-to-one partnerships, whether this is like a business partnership, a friend, a client, even your romantic partner, it could even be an ex for some of you. This could see you actually receiving money that you thought that you weren't going to get from them. Now with this particular full moon, it is actually going to be opposite Venus. So Venus will be at 27 degrees Sagittarius, and that means that it will be in your 8th house. So Venus is your ruling planet whenever it is, let's say, aspected in new moons and full moons, or literally any kind of planetary aspect. This does impact Taurians on a personal level. So again, I'm seeing there being some connection here to your mutual resources. For some of you, this could be receiving your tax return. To be fair, you may have to pay money back. Okay, it could definitely swing both ways. And some of you could also be looking at receiving financial assistance from another person. And I'm saying this because Mars is ruling over your 7th house. Now, because this full moon is in Gemini at 16 degrees, which is the Cancer degree, this could be connected to family, or this could be connected to property matters and your personal living circumstances. So on a more, let's say, internal level, the second house is connected to your self-esteem. Okay, so this can see you having a pretty profound realization when it comes to what you are worth, what you deserve. Now, because the full moon is conjunct Mars, and both the moon and Mars are at 16 degrees, which is the Cancerian degree, which is connected to family, there could be some really powerful realizations that come through which relate to family. Do I deserve to be treated this way by my family? Do I always get singled out? Or conversely, am I playing the victim? Okay, because we've got this full moon squaring Neptune. So it's like, how much of this is me being a target versus am I putting myself in certain situations? Am I serving myself up on a platter to be cut down or to be criticized? So this really is an internal conversation when it comes to what you deserve, how much you are worth, okay, what your own personal set of values are, what your priorities are. This isn't about someone putting a value on you. This is like, well, how much do you bring to the table? Especially because Mars rules over your 7th house, like I said, as well as your 12th house. So for some of you, especially if you're a Taurus Sun or a Taurus Ascendant, this could be connected to business, okay? And it could be that you're noticing that there is a gap between your full earning capacity and where you're at. And that gap is you not either raising your prices or asking for what you're worth if you have an employer. And on a different level, this could also be connected to time being a resource. And I'm saying this because this full moon in Gemini is making a trine to Saturn in Aquarius in your 10th house. So Saturn will be at 20 degrees. So we've got Aquarius in your chart sitting up the top here. All right. So it's like, well, am I giving away too much of my time? Regardless if you're an Aries, a Taurus sun, moon, or rising, this could be in a professional capacity. This could be in your personal relationships. It could be in your romantic partnership or your marriage. Even your relationship with your children, for some of you. And so essentially, this can see you determining whether you are selling yourself short and honestly robbing yourself of getting more out of life, getting more enjoyment because of how much of your time and energy you're giving up to other people. So now let's have a look at Jupiter being in Aries. Okay, so Jupiter will re-enter the sign of Aries on the 20th of December, which means it will be re-entering your 12th house. So just remember, you've already experienced this before as of the 10th of May in 2022, because that's when Jupiter first went into Aries. Now, Jupiter likes to be in Aries because it's very comfortable in fire signs. May was kind of a shit show, and that was nothing to do with Aries. We had nothing to do with Jupiter. There was a lot of turbulence that month because at the end of May, we had like 5 planets. We had Chiron in Aries. So, let's just say from June, maybe this is when you started feeling better. Nevertheless, Jupiter in your 12th house can see you getting more sleep. It can see you being really, really interested in the occult, in, the other realms, in the unseen, in things like astrology, tarot, past life regressions, hypnotherapy. The 12th house is also a very creative house as well. So it is connected to poetry, acting, music. The 5th house and the 12th house are both creative houses. So let's just start there. So essentially, this can see you feeling more creative. You could be gaining a lot of knowledge and wisdom, or even like a flat out education in one of those aforementioned things. So whether this is music, writing, acting, film, tarot, astrology, maybe you're doing a tarot course or an astrology course. You could be teaching one of those courses as well, especially because in your chart, let's see, we've got Jupiter ruling over your 11th house as well as your 8th house. So it's sort of like, you could be doing something online, and the fact that the ruler of the 8th house is in the 12th house really just highlights the passion and the intensity in spirituality and the divine. So you can feel like you're understanding deep secrets of the universe, or you could just become a lot more introspective during this period of time. So again, Jupiter will be in Aries from the 20th of December through till the 15th, 16th of May. So now let's see an exciting energy which is behind this new moon, where it's like, I want to go out and do this. I want to learn more. I want to expand my horizons. I want to see what's out there. I want to be brave. I want to be courageous. So I feel like there's a lot of enterprising energy behind this new moon, which is going to allow you to just honestly fearlessly set out and achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. And I think that's all I had on the new moon in Capricorn. Anything that you know about the 9th house, you can apply this new moon to that, to your own personal birth chart. Lastly, we're going to have a Mercury retrograde in Capricorn on the 29th of December. So it'll be 24 degrees back to 13 degrees. So if you are a Taurus sun, moon, or rising between 13 and 24 degrees, this is going to make a perfect trine to you. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because you Taurians will feel this more strongly than ones who are between, say, 0 and 12 degrees and 25 and 29 degrees. Nevertheless, you'll still feel it. So this can see you rethinking your belief systems. You can be re-enrolling in certain courses. Maybe you are picking some study back up that you'd left by the wayside. You could be going back to college or going back to university. You may be changing your units. You may be deferring. You may be changing the trajectory that you're on in terms of how long the course is going to take you to complete. You could be transferring campuses. There could be a change of teachers or mentors. Maybe you're changing your thesis on a different level. Mercury retrograde in your 9th house can see you hearing back from old teachers. And because the 9th house is connected to your belief systems, you could be revising these. So, if you identified with a certain political or ideological belief, you could really be reconsidering that. If you subscribed, I don't know, I always use the word to subscribe, but if you followed one certain religion, you may be questioning that. You may be doing your own research and finding that you don't necessarily agree with certain elements of it. Let's just say that you used to be a devout Christian and then you at one point in your life were like, no, I'm an atheist, or I'm whatever else. Let's just say that you walked away from that religion, so to speak, or you stopped practicing. This can actually see you picking that back up and being like, hey, I actually believe in these ideals and I want to reintegrate these practices into my life. So a Mercury retrograde in the 9th house can be very helpful in that it's very clarifying. If you've been really uncertain about your career and about, not even your career, but maybe your path in life, your beliefs, your own abilities, your vision for your future, who you should be listening to, who you can trust in your own intuition and your own gut feelings, this can be incredibly clarifying for you, where you're like, oh my God, I knew this. I knew this all along. Or I know what I want. I know what I don't want anymore. The same can be said about a future that you see with a certain romantic partner, especially because Mercury rules over your 5th house, which is connected to romantic situations. Your romantic life. The 5th house is also connected to children. So this could see you being like, okay, I know what the best way is to move forward with my relationship with my child or with my children, or with how to go about starting a family, or even the timeline of what you would want when it comes down to planning to start a family, just as an example. Lastly, Mercury rules over your 2nd house, which is Gemini. So this could be you having clarity about planning for your financial future. So that's going to be a really hot topic as we have Mars retrograde in your 2nd house at the same time as Mercury ruling over your 2nd house and being retrograde in your 9th house. So Taurus, that's all I have for you for December. If you want information on how 2023 is going to look, you can purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope by clicking on the link in the description box below. And now let's move on to Gemini. But first, tea time. I'm actually really liking doing all of these horoscopes at once. Let me know what you guys prefer, whether that's 12 individual horoscopes or just like one big chunk like this. I'm not giving up on my 12 individual horoscopes, but I'm just curious to see what you guys prefer. So now let's look at December for my Gemini sun, moon, and risings. I myself am a fellow Gemini rising, so I do love to do my Gemini horoscope. This is a big month for Geminis, and that is because the full moon's in Gemini, Mercury, which is our ruling planet, will be stationing retrograde, and Mars will still be retrograde in Gemini for the whole of December. Just a note, if you want to know how Mars retrograde in Gemini is going to impact you, you can watch the beginning of my November horoscopes. Okay, so you can find your November horoscope and check that out. Nevertheless, let's look at December. So on the 8th of December, just to clarify, with the 2023 horoscopes, once again, a reminder that watching your horoscope for your Ascendant, Sun, and Moon will give you a really good idea of what you can expect for the whole year. If you're only going to watch one, I would start with your Ascendant sign horoscope. Okay, so anyway, Geminis. On the 8th of December, there will be a full moon in Gemini in your first house at 16 degrees. So first of all, no matter what degree your sun, moon, or rising is in, this is going to impact you because you're a Gemini. But if you are a Gemini at 16 degrees, sun, moon, or rising, you will definitely feel this month more than my other Geminis, but I can extend this out by 3 to 5 degrees. So honestly, let's just say if you're between 11 degrees and 21 degrees Gemini, you guys are going to feel it more than the other Geminis. Nevertheless, this full moon in your first house is all about you having a powerful realization about your long-term goals and dreams, as well as what you want to do professionally, or maybe even an epiphany when it comes to your health or when it comes to your daily habits and routines. And I'm saying this because this full moon in Gemini will be conjunct Mars, which will be retrograde in Gemini, also at 16 degrees. And Mars rules over your 11th house, which is Aries, as well as your 6th house, which is Scorpio. So the 11th house is connected to communities, your long-term goals, your dreams, your wider network, the legacy that you want to leave behind. It's also connected to passive forms of income as well. Now, Mars ruling over your 6th house is where we get this narrative of, okay, what's happening with my health? What's happening with my day-to-day work life? What's happening with my daily habits and routines? So a full moon in your first house conjunct Mars retrograde can be like, wow, I have a huge download now of what I need to do to get my health where I want it to be. Maybe there's an understanding of where you've been, I suppose, depriving yourself of certain things, which is really going to help you health-wise, or maybe even just your daily systems and processes. Maybe you're realizing that there are certain things that you do which are slowing you down. This could be connected to procrastination. You could be noticing how there is a correlation between your simple daily habits and routines and you not achieving these big milestones that you want to achieve, or you not going after these long-term dreams and goals that you have. For many of you, you could be noticing how certain friendships and connections are really impacting you. And for some of you, it could be like, hey, I need to be better friends with this person. I'm treating this person like crap, or I could really benefit from this connection, and I'm actually reconsidering, because we've got Mars ruling over your 11th house. It could be like, I'm reconsidering this connection. Maybe I'd written this person off and I'm like, oh my God, I love that person. Or wow, I never thought that we had similar goals and dreams, or that we could connect on a certain level. And you're like, I want to reignite this relationship. I want to still be really good friends with this person. Or maybe there's someone in your wider network, or it could even be like a friend of a friend, even if it's like an old acquaintance. And you're like, And also this could be like a former coworker or even a current coworker. And you could be like, I never even thought that I could be friends with this person, or that we would have anything in common. And then you're like, hey, this person's amazing. I want to cultivate this friendship or this connection. The same can be said for working collaborative opportunities. So maybe there was a certain, let's say, collaboration which was offered up to you or that was on the table, and maybe you're like, no, not now. And now you're revisiting that and you're seeing it through a different lens, so to speak. So you could be revisiting something. And I mean, the flip side of this is you being like, hey, this connection's making me procrastinate, or I feel like I'm really getting bogged down in this person's drama, and me being really tight with this person is actually having a very negative impact on me. Now, if we just remove other people from this equation, a full moon in our first house can see us really shedding our attachment to a former version or iteration of ourselves. So it can be like, no, I'm not that person. I'm so different. That's the old story for me. Like, that's old Cailin. This is new Cailin. I'm not going to let that that old narrative pick back up. So you can feel like you're shedding this current chapter or energy that you've been in, and you're really like priming yourself for something new. I'm not going to lie, this could be a very emotional full moon for you. I know emotional Gemini is what? But you know, this will be squaring Neptune, okay? So this can be definitely like throwing up a lot of emotions around this time. So with Jupiter re-entering Aries in your 11th house, this is going to feel so good because Jupiter will stop squaring your sun, moon, and ascendant. Now, yes, Jupiter is the planet of abundance, wealth, prosperity. It's also connected to knowledge, education, expansion, and growth. But when it squares us, so when it was in Pisces, which, you know, it is right now as I'm filming this, Pisces and squaring us as Geminis, it's like expansion and growth beyond our usual comfort level. Or, you know, here's this opportunity, take it. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Like, kind of have a break. So Jupiter being in your 11th house in Aries from the 20th of December will be like, oh, this is something I can take at my own pace now. Don't get me wrong, Jupiter in Aries is still going to be like moving quick, but it's not going to be like that whiplash kind of feeling that Jupiter squaring Gemini could have given you. So anything that you initiated around May, June, or July when Jupiter was first in Aries, we can be picking this back up and just kind of like organizing it properly, because lots of Geminis will have had these big lofty goals and dreams that they were conceptualizing around that time, and it's like maybe you just had the blueprint for it but you didn't move it forwards, or maybe you wanted to take it forwards but there were just all these other obstacles popping up like mushrooms, and you were like, fuck, like I just can't do what like I want to do. I really want to work on this, but I need to finish these other things up first. I need to tie up other loose ends. So I know I felt like that. Don't get me wrong, I loved doing my 2023 horoscopes, but the whole project took me like 10 weeks. So, you know, there were other things that I wanted to work on, and I'm like, oh my God, can I just finish this so that I can do the other stuff, like the fun stuff? And I feel like this is Gemini culture, but it's like the most creative that your mind might be is when you're doing things that you have to do and you're like, oh, but I really want to go do this. I digress. So Jupiter in your 11th house can see you joining new groups, joining new communities. It can see you meeting like-minded individuals. I like to say like-oriented because I don't want to meet people of the same mind as me, but you know, it's like people that you can really connect with. So maybe you have learned a lot from people who are in your wider network who are in a community. So maybe you just have that sense of community. The 11th house is a money house, and it is connected to passive forms of income and residual income. So there could be ways that you set yourself up financially so that you don't have to do as much work, like, you know, be consciously putting your energy and attention into something. So you could just have, you know, like passive income bubbling along in the background. Because Jupiter rules over your 7th house and your 10th house, this could be connected to sales, this could be connected to something you do with your career, or how you've structurally set up your business, or the way that you do business, even if you haven't set up a business. Jupiter in the 11th house is amazing because it sextiles you as a Gemini sun, moon, or rising. So this actually indicates that there's so much help and support that's coming to you from the 11th house. So it's like, let's say that you are on social media. This could be your supporters. I like to call them supporters, not followers, but nevertheless, let's call it what it is: supporters, followers, subscribers. You could be making money through social media accounts, or through technology or inventions that you've created, or new innovations. You could be looking at, oh my God, does everyone have to mow their lawn today? I'm so sorry. I hope you guys can't hear that. Anyway, so this, like, it's such a beautiful day. I get it, but like, I swear to God. Anyway, so Jupiter in your 11th house sextiling you indicates the opportunity that's coming from other people. Let me help you. Let me share my wisdom with you. Let me, you know, tout your name all over town. Let me represent you. Maybe they're just sharing your work around. You don't need to be like a YouTuber. This can be like however you know, express yourself or make money, or even if you're in certain communities and groups, there can just be a lot of support for you to maybe even take on a position of leadership with Jupiter ruling over your 10th house. And for some of you, you could even meet a romantic connection through a group or a community online. This could be someone that you're friends with, or a friend of a friend, or someone in your wider network. And I'm saying that because Jupiter rules over your 7th house. So now let's have a look at the new moon in Capricorn. So this will be in your 8th house at 1 degrees, and it will be squaring Jupiter in Aries. So let me just double check something. Is Jupiter at exactly 1 degrees? Jupiter's at 0 degrees Aries, so it's 1 degree off, but still that's really close, guys. Now with this new moon taking place in your 8th house, this can see you going to see a tarot reader or an astrologer, studying something to do with the occult or something taboo. This could see you doing some kind of deep research. This may be a very emotional time for you as well. And the reason I'm saying that is because with this new moon in Capricorn, Venus and Mercury and Pluto are all here at the same time. So Mercury, being your chart ruler, indicates that this is where your mind is. This is where your attention is going. To be fair, Mercury in Capricorn, which happens every year around Capricorn season-ish, like this is, generally speaking, an emotional time, because the 8th house is a very deep and psychological house. So we can be really focused on confronting our shadow side, confronting our demons. We can be extremely preoccupied with our past traumatic experiences, our emotional vulnerabilities. And for some of you, to be fair, you could be starting up a new sexually intimate relationship. And on a different note, this can see you deciding that you want to see a psychologist, or you want to see a psychiatrist, or you want to study astrology or study tarot or something of that nature. So in a nutshell, I see this new moon in your 8th house as being a deeply transformative house, because the 8th house is connected to sudden reversals and transformations. But it's like, I want to help myself. Okay, with the square to Jupiter in your 11th house, it's like, how am I holding myself back? Why am I holding myself back? Can I please just break out of this? Because it's it's driving me nuts. Okay, so this can see you actually having like a real release as you confront certain, let's say, addictions or like clinging to the past, because the 8th house can see us sort of like stowing away all of our insecurities and our secrets, and we don't want to like let people see this side of ourselves, and we can sort of revisit this energy and kind of ruminate or stew on it. So I see this as being a deeply healing and transformative time, but it's not like, okay, I get to the new moon in Capricorn on the 23rd of December and then I'm like healed just in time for Christmas. It's more like I'm starting this journey. I'm going to work with an astrologer. I'm going to work with a psychologist. I'm going to start journaling or doing affirmations or meditating. I know that this is all 12th house stuff as well, but just remember that Venus is in your 8th house during this new moon, and Venus rules over your 12th house, where we're tying that back in. So I see this as Geminis taking a very active role in, you know, doing their own inner work and really pursuing their own healing journey. So even if that entails the help of other people. Now, lastly, on the 29th of December, there will be a Mercury retrograde in Capricorn in your 8th house. So all of those topics that I just mentioned with the new moon in Capricorn, we're going to be focusing on that. We're going to be doubling down. So for some of you Geminis, it could even be things that you start around the new moon in Capricorn. So like around Christmas time, maybe even a couple weeks before, because that new moon energy can start like, 2 weeks before. We're doubling down on that. Oh, I'm interested in psychology. Hey, I'm going to throw everything at this. I'm really, keen on learning more about tarot. I'm buying myself lots of tarot decks and a bunch of books and practicing all the time with all these different decks. So I really feel like whatever you pursue or become interested in around the 23rd of December, or again, maybe 2 weeks before that, by the time you get to the end of December, we're just like consuming that information and we're like so interested and into it. So some of you during this period of time could be going back to an astrologer that you used to see before, or a tarot reader or a Reiki practitioner. You could be recommencing sessions with a psychologist or with a psychiatrist. If you were romantically, and by that I mean intimately and sexually involved with someone previously, you could actually be like picking up where you left off, so to speak. However, for some of you, if let's say a new sexual relationship begins while we've got that new moon in Capricorn happening, so let's just say in the month of December, when we get to the end of December and maybe even into the first 3 weeks of January, that whole dynamic could change. So if things were like hot and heavy at the start, and then all of a sudden this person ghosts you, or feelings change on one side or another, don't be surprised. And that's because we've got that Mercury retrograde energy, and Mercury is your chart ruler. Somehow I feel like this would be you and your feelings changing rather than the other person's, but it could go either way. And just by the way, that has absolutely no bearing on the long-term success or the longevity of that connection. I'm just saying that during the Mercury retrograde from 29th of December till the 18th of January, things flip around, feelings flip around, or the dynamics of that relationship change in one way or another. So now let's have a look at Cancer and Gemini. If you want to know about your year ahead for 2023, you can purchase your 2023 horoscope using the link in the description box below, and you can go for that one whether you're a Gemini sun, moon, or ascendant. The ascendant sign will be the most accurate for you overall, generally speaking. So Cancer, sun, moon, and risings. This is an impactful month for you, and that is because we've got your 7th house and 10th houses being really activated. So no matter what sign you are, if the 1st, 4th, 7th, or 10th houses are very activated, we start to see real tangible things take place in our life, or like major events can occur. And when I say that, I mean like in the 3D, this is not so much to do with like what's happening on an internal level. This is more like what's happening with my work, what's happening with my connections and relationships, etc. So first and foremost, on the 8th of December, there will be a full moon in Gemini at 16 degrees in your 12th house. So to be fair, this is the exception. Okay, so this first transit or astrological event that I'm going to be discussing, this will be more internal for you. So this can see you having a huge epiphany when it comes to if you've been self-sabotaging, seeing things clearly, seeing how you may have been engaging in relationships or connections or practices that are not for your best and highest good. Now, this full moon in your 12th house will be conjunct Mars at 16 degrees as well, which will be retrograde in Gemini. Mars rules over your 10th house, which is Aries, and it also rules over your 5th house, which is Cancer. So what we're doing here is we're combining the meaning of the 10th house, or what the 10th house rules over, I should say, as well as the 5th house. So we're looking at career, public status, professional reputation and identity, how we want others to perceive us, work aside, what we're putting out into the world, how we want to be known, how we want to be remembered. And then we're also tying in our romantic life, which is indicated by Mars ruling over the 5th house, our children, potentially owning our own business, and blanket statement, our hobbies, passions, and creative gifts and talents. So in a nutshell, this is you guys realizing that you have been underestimating your attractiveness. You've been underestimating. I mean, obviously this is a general reading, so take what resonates for you, right? But for some of you, underestimating your attractiveness and your potential for a successful relationship, underestimating your parenting skills, maybe underestimating your child. Okay, if you already have children, you could have overlooked certain gifts or talents that they have. And this is absolutely not me putting any kind of shame onto you guys. It could be like, oh, I knew they loved drawing, but wow, I think they've really got a talent that they can work with here. And if they are older, let's say they're adults, maybe you have been underestimating their ability to run their own lives. Maybe you've been doing a bit too much for them, or you're like, wow, they've actually got it more together than I thought, or they're more mature than I thought. Now, some of you could have been self-sabotaging or underestimating your own ability to start a business, to run your own business, or even to just hone your creative gifts and talents. So, for example, if you're like, hey, I love cooking, but that's just like for me and my family. Maybe you're like, I could actually enter a competition. I could go on MasterChef, or I could start a business related to this, or I could run events. I just feel like you guys are coming out of some sort of like rut, I suppose, where you're finally going to be seeing yourself clearly. And I'm saying that because we do have this conjunction to Mars, and it's this awareness of, I could be well known for this. I should put myself out there. I should put that talent out there. Cancers are competitive. Okay, they're a cardinal sign. It's just that you guys do things more discreetly. But I know Cancers are ambitious. And again, this is a general reading, but you guys are tenacious, you're ambitious, you're observant. You can operate on the emotional plane. You're people, not people pleasers, you're like a people person. So you know how to work with people. Cancerians are fantastic business people. Let me hype you up and prop you up if you've been doubting your capabilities when it comes to, professional accomplishments or milestones. I mean, even if it's that you just want to do something for you, whether this is like writing a book, learning a musical instrument, writing a piece of poetry, this is all like 12th house combined with 5th house stuff. because the 12th house is a very creative house. So this can see you actually completing some kind of creative project. You could have some kind of spiritual or emotional breakthrough. You could feel like you're finally released from some kind of past romantic connection, because Mars rules over your 5th house, which again represents this like your romantic connection, right? So you guys could be like, oh, I'm cutting the cord with this person. I don't need to, like, they don't have a hold over me. Or maybe things that your child had said to you, or things that a past romantic partner had said to you were eating away at you, and you were like, screw that, that's not me. So I just feel like you guys are coming out of some kind of, some kind of rut, some kind of reverie where you're just like not seeing your own self-worth, and really cutting the bullshit when it comes to self-sabotaging behavior and, you know, acting like a victim. And I'm saying acting because we can really get stuck into the old story of, you know, this happened to me and now I'm that person. So don't let your past define your future, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. So psychological stuff out of the way. On the 20th of December, Jupiter is going to enter the sign of Aries. So this is amazing for your career, maybe, and even just like your public status and reputation. You know, this doesn't have to be connected to work. Jupiter being in your 10th house is something that you already experienced between the 10th of May and, was it the end of October? But let's just say, you know, May, June, July, when Jupiter was direct. So this can see you actually becoming more well known for your, let's say, for certain belief systems that you hold, or for your work, because we've got Jupiter ruling over your 6th house as well as your 9th house, which is Sagittarius and Pisces respectively. So you could be having certain works published and circulated. You could receive a lot of acknowledgement or praise from your boss, or from someone who's in a position of authority. Even on a public scale, you could be receiving some positive feedback for work well done. And Jupiter in the 10th house can see you actualizing certain goals that you want to achieve. Yes, the 11th house is connected to long-term goals and dreams, but the 10th house is like positions of power and leadership, our highest worldly responsibilities. It's a house which represents the parental axes, because, you know, what is the concept of being a parent if not being a leader and a role model for someone else? So this can see you realizing what you want to achieve in this lifetime, and maybe you're going to receive more, let's say more responsibility, no matter where you are in your life. This could be responsibilities when it comes to the workplace. This could be responsibilities when it comes to a religious or spiritual community or, you know, group that you are a part of. This could see you just wanting to become a better person, or find out your life's mission or your soul's calling. Jupiter ruling over your 9th house, which is Pisces, and being in the 10th house is amazing for that, especially if you felt like you've lost your way, or that you just don't even know what you want to do. Maybe you've been questioning the job or the role that you are in or that you hold. Jupiter through the 10th house can see there being a liberation from that. So it can be like, I want to walk away from this job. I don't want to be part of this career. I don't want to have these responsibilities. So a Jupiter transit through the 10th house can indicate freedom and liberation from that in some instances. So let's just see. To be fair, Jupiter in the 10th house will be squaring you as a Cancer sun, moon, or rising. So this can put a lot of pressure on you. Pressure to step up, pressure to do more with your work, pressure to act on your vision for the future, pressure to, you know, uphold some kind of powerful position or position of leadership, pressure to stand up for your beliefs, pressure to not shy away from telling the world what you want to do. So in some instances, this can require pushback. No, I don't accept your vision for my future. No, I don't want to subscribe to these beliefs. No, I don't want to be part of this religious faith or group anymore. I have my own beliefs, or I have my own political beliefs. So a square to Jupiter can be like pressure to do what is morally right or ethical. And this is representative of your own set of morals and ethics, because not everyone obviously shares the same. So it can be a time where we just feel really pressured to be our authentic selves in spite of what other people are kind of putting upon us. Now, on the 23rd of December, there will be a new moon in Capricorn at 1 degrees, and this will be in your 7th house. It will be squaring Jupiter in your 10th house as well. So new moons will impact Cancerians because it involves the moon, and same can be said for a full moon. So it doesn't matter if the new moon or the full moon is not in Cancer. This is why Cancers are known for being moody, and that's because the moon is your ruling planet or luminary, and it goes through all of its phases, within a month, which is a lot faster than everyone else's ruling planet. So I digress. A new moon in your 7th house at 1 degrees can indicate a new romantic relationship coming through, making something official, proposing to someone, or receiving a proposal. This can indicate the mere plan or suggestion of solidifying a new romantic connection. And when I say new, I mean taking something from casual territory through to more official or exclusive territory. And I'm saying this because the 5th house is connected to casually dating, whereas the 7th house is like we're either engaged, living together, have kids together, property together, or our lives are like really enmeshed rather than just like something that's more casual, like I said. So this can indicate a new romantic relationship or an existing romantic connection becoming more official. Maybe you'll be making certain plans together for the future, and especially because this new moon will also be together with Venus as well, which is a relationship planet. Now, on a different level, this can indicate a new work contract coming through, a new business deal, working with another person, working with a new client. Maybe you'll be looking at starting up new services that you want to sell. So this could be a new service that you are offering. This could be an important new friendship where it's like, you kind of knew this person in a sort of, in a casual sense, but now you guys are like hanging out, getting coffee, or you just consider this person to be a good friend. So it's kind of like taking your friendship to a new level. To put that in a less strange way, this can just indicate that you consider this person to be like one of your core people, like one of your inner circle friends, especially because this new moon is with Mercury, and Mercury rules over your 3rd house, which represents, groups of friends. Now, a new moon in Cancer in your 7th house can indicate that for those of you who have a long-term romantic partner already, there could be a brand new chapter or a brand new start in their personal life. And that's because your 7th house is their 1st house. If that doesn't make sense, just don't worry about it. What I'm saying is that if you're in a relationship already, it may not be that you are meeting someone new, or that you are doing a business deal or making a new friend, or that there's a new romantic connection. The way that it manifests for you is that you could be witnessing that your romantic partner is having this new chapter that's starting in their lives. And this could be a really big deal for them, especially because we just I mean, we have so many planets in Capricorn with this new moon, which really emphasizes the potency of the new moon. So, you know, Moon, Sun, Venus, Mercury, Pluto, they're all in Capricorn while this new moon is occurring. So lastly, Cancerians, on the 29th of December, there will be a Mercury retrograde in your 7th house from 24 degrees going back to 13 degrees. So the Cancerians who will be the most impacted will be those between 13 and 24 degrees. If you are outside of those degrees, you will still feel it. You just won't feel it as much. So Mercury retrograde in the 7th house can indicate hearing back from old lovers, old friends, people, maybe, like exes, whether that's like an ex-romantic partner or an ex-friend, or it could just be friends that you haven't spoken to for ages. You could be hearing back from former clients, people that you used to do business with, a former romantic partner. If you work in sales or in one-to-one client, like in a one-to-one capacity with other people, let's just say that you have a contract or a deal or some kind of arrangement with them, this could be subject to change. So there could be lots of fluctuations in your one-to-one meetings that you have with other people, regardless of if you're a Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And when we have Mercury retrogrades in the 7th house, this can just see us having to speak to lots and lots of people for that 3-week period of time. So, you know, you could be extremely busy with friends, with co-workers, in the workplace, with clients, etc. You could be trying to figure out certain issues that you've been having with your romantic partner if you are in a relationship. If you've been on and off with a partner, this can see you definitively deciding one way or another what you want to do. And so Cancer, that's all I've got for you for December. If you want to purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. And I would recommend that to all Cancers, Sun, Moon, and Risings. But I would especially start off with your Ascendant sign if you're only going to purchase one. So now, let's have a look at Leos. But first, let me take a quick break. Oh my God, I've been recording for nearly an hour and a half, and I'm only one quarter of the way through. Whoa. All right, I'm going to try and limit these to 10 minutes per sign for the rest. So, Leos. Leo, Sun, Moon, and Risings. On the 8th of December, someone else is working on their lawn outside. This is quite unbelievable. Anyway, hopefully you can't hear that. On the 11th of December, there will be a full moon in Gemini at 16 degrees in your 11th house. So, this can see you letting go of a certain friendship group or network or a community that you are a part of. So maybe you're like, I just don't have anything in common with these people anymore. I don't really want to be associated with them. We just don't have aligned values anymore. For some of you, this could see you maybe having a falling out with a friend as well. It doesn't need to be like we're fully calling it quits. I just feel as though this full moon in your 11th house is like, let's actually address the elephant in the room. You know, we just can't ignore this issue any longer. For some of you, you could actually be achieving a long-term goal or dream or some kind of milestone. Some of you may be deciding that you don't want to work on certain long-term goals or dreams anymore. You could be closing down a certain social media account or profile. You could have achieved some kind of passive form of income or residual form of income. This full moon in Gemini, will be conjunct Mars. So Mars will be retrograde at the time as well. For you guys, Mars rules over your 4th house, which is connected to family, property, and living circumstances, but it is also connected to your 9th house as well, which is associated with your belief systems, whether these are spiritual, political, ideological, and the ninth house is also connected to education. So this full moon in your 11th house can see you maybe leasing out your property, because we do have that connection to your 4th house. So you could be earning money from rent. It could be an Airbnb. It could be that you have launched a project together with a family member. Maybe you've gone into business with your family, or you're going to be collaborating with them in some way. For others of you, this could actually see you being accepted into a PhD program, because the 11th house is connected to PhDs specifically. And again, we do have that connection to your 9th house here. The 11th house is connected to inventions, innovations, and technology. So maybe you are launching some kind of like website or app or piece of technology, and could just be that there's been a lot of complications with this. There could be a relaunch because Mars is retrograde. It could be a new version. You could have rebranded or switched up your website and how it looks. Those are just a few examples of how that can play out. Now, on the 20th of December, Jupiter is going to enter Aries in your 9th house. So first and foremost, we had Jupiter in Aries from the 10th of May in 2022 through till I think the end of October, but it was direct May, June and July. So maybe you have started something around that period of time and you had to push the pause button on it, and now you're able to pick this back up again. So for some of you, this could be connected to education, publishing, import and export, your belief systems, spiritual work, working with a coach or a mentor, or you being a coach or a mentor. In your chart, Leo, Jupiter rules over your 5th house, which is Sagittarius, and it also rules over your 8th house as well. So I'm so sorry about that noise, guys. Hopefully this person finishes with their lawn soon. Anyway, so Jupiter in the 9th house can see you working on a book, working on starting your own business, working on maybe import and export. Some of you may find that your child is falling pregnant, during this period of time, which is the 20th of December through till mid-May in 2023. This can see you working on learning in a more structured capacity, something to do with the occult, with Jupiter ruling over the 8th house. So this could be astrology, tarot, Reiki. This could be working with, like I said, a coach of sorts. Maybe this is a business coach or a life coach, or someone who's maybe even like a sex therapist as well. Jupiter in the 9th house is amazing for you guys because it means that Jupiter is trining you as a Leo sun, moon, or rising. So this can bring education opportunities, travel opportunities. This is a transit which can indicate falling pregnant, because Jupiter trining you, whether that's from the 5th house or the 9th house, can imply that. And if that's the case, I would say this is more likely if you're a Leo rising or a Leo moon, less so Leo sun, but don't let me stop you. So this can see you feeling more motivated, more energized, having more clarity about what you want to do with your future. You can understand how certain fears have been holding you back, especially if this is connected to your romantic life, your sex life, your desire to start a family, or even your parental, like how you parent, just generally speaking. And to be fair, this is a transit which can also indicate romance, because we've got the ruler of the 5th house, which is your romantic life, and the ruler of your 8th house, which is your sex life, being in the 9th house and trining you and trining your 5th house. So this is a very positive aspect for relationship energy. Now, there will be a new moon in Capricorn at 1 degrees in your 6th house, and this will be on the 23rd of December. So this can see you having a new work project that you start, a new health regime, a new workout regime. This could even be connected to diet as well. This can see you starting at a new workplace. Maybe you are simply talking to someone about moving across to their workplace or working with another person. This could even be like your awareness of this as an opportunity in the future. Now, for others of you, even if you're in the same workplace, it could just be that there are now new responsibilities, new tasks, new systems. This new moon in Capricorn will be with Venus, Mercury, and Pluto. So this is all in your 6th house. So this can be like you have to work with new clients, work with new people, go into business with other people. And for some of you, this could be the desire to work for yourself or to really capitalize on your own creative gifts and talents. Now, this new moon will be squaring Jupiter and Aries in your 9th house. So it's like you really planning out your future, whether this is work, whether this is health, whether this is your daily habits and routines. It's like what you're wanting to do around Christmas time, let's say, plus or minus 2 weeks, is really connected to your long-term future. And maybe this is going to indicate that education or travel opportunities will be involved here as well. Or maybe you're just wanting to work internationally or really associate and liaise with people who are from very different cultures and backgrounds to you. Now, on the 29th of December, Mercury is going to be retrograde in Capricorn in your 6th house, and that will be from 24 degrees to 13 degrees. So what I can say here is that there will be some big changes happening in your workplace if you're already working. So it's like, hey, we're changing the way things are run. Maybe there are old co-workers coming back. If you have employed people, this can see former employees coming back into the fold, or their hours could be changing. Your day-to-day hours could be changing. The kinds of responsibilities that you have could be shifting. If you've been working on projects that you thought were done and dusted, you may have to edit these and tweak them and revise them. You may have to even do a relaunch of certain projects. Worst case scenario is starting from scratch. Just throw that out there. This is general reading though. Now, this can see you going back to a healthcare practitioner or professional. You could be recommencing your appointments. So let's just say hypothetically that you used to see a naturopath. This could see you, going back to that person. Hey, I just want to check up. Hey, I just want to make sure this is okay. Or I just want to make sure that I want to get a second opinion or a third opinion on advice that you were given. So on a different level, Mercury retrograde in the 6th house can see you finally figuring out how to cut out a bad habit or something that's really been bugging you. Okay, so now let's move on to Virgos. But lastly, Leo, if you want to check out your 2023 yearly horoscope, you can purchase yours by clicking on the link in the description box below. Let's stay hydrated out here. Okay, so I'm a Virgo moon, just by the way, guys. So I do love doing my Virgo videos. Virgos, this is a big month for you, because there will be a full moon in Gemini in your 10th house, which is highlighting your career sector. And B, because Mercury, which is your ruling planet, will be stationing retrograde at the end of the month. So first and foremost, on the 8th of December, this full moon will be in Gemini at 16 degrees in your 10th house, and it will be conjunct Mars as well. For you guys, this can see you completing some kind of big work project. Okay, you could be achieving a career milestone or a position of leadership or responsibility, because this full moon is actually conjunct Mars, and Mars rules over your your 3rd house, which is Scorpio, as well as your 8th house, which is Aries. It could be connected to communications, written work, something like this. So like a YouTube channel, documentary, working on a small group or a team. It could be something to do with the 8th house, which is healing, psychology, psychiatry, astrology, tarot, anything to do with the occult, and also managing other people's mutual resources. With this full moon being retrograde with this full moon being conjunct Mars, which is retrograde in Gemini, the retrograde here tells me that this is something that you've tried to do before. This is something that you've been planning for ages. This is something that, you've really maybe even needed to gain courage to do. And with Mars ruling over the 8th house, I feel, astrologically, but also my feeling is that there is some fear or some trepidation with the launch of a certain project, or with taking on a new role, putting yourself out there, walking away from a job perhaps, or just identifying as someone who's interested in the things that you are. Okay, and I'm saying this because Mars rules over the 3rd house, and this is like your education. What am I learning about? What am I interested in? What am I researching? What am I talking about and thinking about all the time? And then Mars ruling over the 8th house is like, hey, kind of dark stuff, or kind of taboo topics. And somehow, or like I said, there could be some fear there where it's like, I'm just fearful about, putting myself out there in such a way, and yet there's like such a profound sense of authenticity and honesty that comes through with this full moon. I feel like it's going to be really, really liberating for you somehow, and that you're really finally stepping out into being your true and authentic self. So this doesn't just have to be with work. This can be like how you present online, how you show up in the world, what you want to be known for, what kind of image or aesthetic you create, when it comes to, let's say, your resume in a sense. And I'm not trying to make this superficial. It's literally just like the 10th house, which is here in our birth charts, simply represents the highest point of visibility. So just to give you an example, when we see, let's say, celebrities or people in the public eye, the impression that we get of them is not their ascendant sign. That's not the first, the ascendant sign is the first impression. It's the handshake. You're not shaking this person's hand. You're seeing their midheaven. Okay, so how you perceive someone that you've never met is their midheaven. It's not their ascendant. It's not their sun sign. So with Gemini on the midheaven, lots of Virgos, especially Virgo risings, are seen as these Gemini people, these multi-talented, multifaceted people. So for you guys, I feel as though even if you're not launching something, even if you're not putting yourself out there, so to speak, there's an aha moment where you're like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be. And maybe there is a level of awareness of how much in your life you're going to have to change for you to close that gap between who you are, where you are now, and where you want to be. Now, this full moon in Gemini will be especially potent for Virgos who are at 16 degrees, plus or minus 5 degrees. So let's just say 11 degrees through to 21 degrees. Now, looking at Jupiter in Aries, okay, Jupiter will re-enter the sign of Aries on the 20th of December. So Jupiter will be in your 8th house. And first of all, Jupiter likes to be in the 8th house because the 8th house is connected to mutual resources, emotional intimacy, being vulnerable with other people, and our awareness of our own shadows. And Jupiter is this bringer of information, light, illumination. So Jupiter in the 8th house is really shining this big light on, what am I afraid of? What have I been ignoring? Where can I heal in my life? What can I do to heal? For you guys, Jupiter rules over your 7th house, which is connected to one-to-one personal relationships. And it also rules over your 4th house, which is connected to family. So for some of you, this is like, I'm healing things with my family, or I'm letting things go, even if I'm not making up with them. I'm working on my issues in being vulnerable with other people, whether these are romantic connections or whether these are how you operate in friendships. Maybe some of you are working on healing your inner child. On a more material level, Jupiter in the 8th house can see you making more money off of mutual resources that you have, maybe the stock market or certain investments. Not giving any kind of financial advice at all. For some of you, you could be receiving a tax return during this period of time. If you are in a romantic relationship, this can indicate that your partner is receiving a pay rise. Okay, so that's another way that that can play out. Just on a general level, this can see you understanding occult topics more deeply, or any kind of taboo topic, astrology, tarot, Reiki, Tantra, like literally anything to do with the occult or the darker side of life. You know, we can just have more awareness and interest and wisdom that comes through in those departments. So on the 23rd of December, there will be a new moon in Capricorn at 1 degrees, and this will be in your 5th house, and it will be squaring Jupiter and Aries in your 8th house. So this new moon in Capricorn is very Capricornian indeed, and that is because we've got 5 planets in Capricorn at the time. So Sun, Moon, Venus, Pluto, and Mercury, which is your ruling planet. So this new moon in Capricorn in your 5th house at 1 degrees can indicate a new romantic relationship starting, or just meeting someone new who you are interested in. It doesn't need to be that you're meeting this person for the first time. It could be this like, hey, I know you, but now there's something romantic there. So that's another way that that can play out. This could see some of you starting a romantic relationship. To be fair, could be friends with benefits kind of thing. And for others of you, it could be that you're joining a dating app or a dating website, or putting yourself out there, especially if you've been out of the dating game for a while. So, it doesn't need to be that you're physically meeting someone, physically dating someone. It could just be like, I have a new approach to this. I'm doing something new in this department. I'm putting myself out there and I'm doing it in a new way. Now, for others of you, you could be falling pregnant, okay? Especially if you're sorry, this just really scared me because I was going to say Virgo around 1 degrees, and I'm a Virgo moon at 1 degrees. Anyway, especially if you're a Virgo between 0 degrees and about 6 degrees. Okay, so I'm just giving it like a 5-degree orb. Anyway, so this could see you getting pregnant, starting a family, or expanding a family, having another child. If you already have children, this can indicate that there is a new chapter starting within your child's life. Now, on a different note, some of you may be starting your own business. You could be doing something new, which is associated with your existing business if you have one. And on a different level, this can see you discovering a new creative talent or a hobby, starting classes as well to get involved in this. Maybe this is something that you are quite excited about. It could be anything creative, drawing, writing, painting. I signed up to a sketching course the other day. I haven't properly started it, but still, it could just be something creative and fun and something that you're really passionate about. And because the new moon in Capricorn is with Venus and Mercury, you could be doing a short course. You could be doing this with friends or with a group. It could be something Venusian as well, like cooking or gardening. So, those are just a few different ways that can play out. Now, lastly, Virgo, Mercury will station retrograde in Capricorn at 24 degrees in your 5th house. So it'll be retrograde from 24 back through to 13 degrees. So the Virgos who will feel this the most will be those between 13 and 24 degrees. Nevertheless, you'll still feel it. This can see you speaking to old lovers, whether that's you reaching out or them. Could be either or. So you could just be getting back in connection. It doesn't mean you have to get back together. Some of you may. It could just be that, you know, they slide into your DMs or they text you and they call you, even if you ignore it and you're just like, you know what I mean? So old romantic history in the past can come back up. It could be that you just see them on the street. Someone else has just started mowing their lawn. This is 4 different instances. I can't. Anyway, this can see you going back to a hobby or a passion that you love, picking that back up, reopening your business, rebranding your business. This could see you, reopening business, like I said. And this could see you making changes to your business, whether this is the kinds of products that you sell or the services that you offer. Mercury retrograde in the 5th house can see you going back to writing, especially if there was like a book that you wanted to write, because the 5th house is connected to authorship. Can I just say Mercury retrograde in the 5th house is very, very good for anyone who has felt creatively blocked. So Virgo, if you want to know how 2023 is going to impact you, you can purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope using the link in the description box below. And now I'm going to move on to Libra, but just give me 1 second, Libra. I'll be back in just a moment. Hey guys, thanks for being patient. I will definitely be editing this out of the replay. Okay, so let's have a look at Libra. Libra's Sun, Moon and Risings, first of all. Now, there will be a full moon in Gemini in your 9th house, and this will be at 16 degrees on the 8th of December. So this full moon can see you guys actually returning to, not returning, but finally finishing up something to do with education. Okay, you could be graduating, you could be finishing off a course or a unit, you could be finishing off a thesis or an honors program or a master's program. And because Mars is retrograde and conjunct the full moon, maybe this is something that, it took you a long time to get here, or it's been in motion for ages or part of your plan for a while. For some of you, you could finally be launching some kind of education program or course. You could become a teacher or a mentor. To be fair, you could be giving this up. Okay, so if some of you are let's say teachers or mentors, you could be walking away from this. Now, on a different level, the 9th house is connected to travel. So for some of you, you could actually be receiving permanent residency, citizenship, or this could be connected to, what's the other one? A visa. Now, on a different level, you could be finally going on some kind of trip that you've planned for a while, and this could be something that's really important to you, or a very something that is very close to your heart. Let's say with this full moon occurring in your 9th house, some of you could just be having like a really important epiphany or realization, which is associated with your belief systems, your vision for the future, what you want to experience in life. You could be actually going through some kind of, I want to say spiritual awakening, or maybe even religious awakening, or you could have an understanding of how certain belief systems have kind of been programmed into you, and you're like, hey, I was raised with these belief systems, but I don't subscribe to these, or I really don't resonate with these. Now, on a different level, this can see you guys having some kind of breakthrough with a father figure, especially if this is someone that you have been, and when I say father figure, I mean your father, stepfather, someone who you really respect or what have you. So it could be like you are having a breakthrough with them, whether you are wanting to rekindle that relationship, as in, get back in touch and reconnect, or maybe you are deciding that you don't really want to be associated with this individual anymore, or it could just be that you're seeing them in a different light, and there could be some kind of breakthrough or an aha moment that comes through with them, and you're like, oh, I understand why they are the way that they are. So there could be a very profound realization that comes through in that way. Now, if you have been traveling abroad, or with someone else, this can see that coming to a close, okay, because Mars rules over your 7th house and it is conjunct the full moon. So this can see you basically just, not necessarily cutting your travel trip short, but maybe you're like, okay, I've enjoyed my time away. I don't need to continue this anymore. And to be fair, some of you could be getting married around this period of time. Now, on the 20th of December, Jupiter will re-enter Aries in your 7th house. So first of all, Jupiter was in Aries in your 7th house from the 10th of May through till I think the end of October, but it was direct May, June and July in your 7th house. So for some of you, a connection that you had with a romantic partner or a romantic interest or a friend or even a client could be coming back up around the 20th of December. So maybe you are developing that friendship further, developing that connection further. Some of you could very well be entering into a relationship during this period of time. And for others of you, you could just become really good friends with another person. So the reason I'm saying that is because Jupiter rules over your third house, which is connected to friendships. Now, on a different level, this could see you signing contracts with another person, okay? So you could be entering into some kind of contractual arrangement or agreement. I won't go through all the different ways that can play out, but really this is any kind of contract. And some of you could actually be engaging the services of, let's say, a tutor. And I'm saying this because the 7th house is connected to one-to-one connections, which entails tutoring, and Jupiter rules over your 3rd house, being Sagittarius, and the 3rd house is connected to education. So maybe you're wanting someone to teach you firsthand about something. Okay, so the same can be said for yourself, offering tutoring to other people, and you could be making money through these means, especially because Jupiter rules over your 6th house, which is connected to work. Now, Jupiter through the 7th house can indicate you expanding your business clientele. More clients, more contracts, more sales, more business deals. I cannot believe how many people are working on their lawns today. I'm so sorry. I'm going to try and edit this in the replay. Anyway, so Jupiter through the 7th house is a really good time for you guys. You know, this is like more friends, more client deals, more connections, more sales, more business, receiving really impactful and important help from another individual. This could be to do with your career. This could be to do with education and learning. This could be to do with setting up your business. For some of you, this can see your partner going through a lot of growth and expansion. Maybe you will be traveling with another individual, whether this is a friend or a romantic interest. If you're already in a romantic relationship, this could see you see your partner, having travel opportunities personally. Your partner may be falling pregnant. There may be a lot of growth and expansion in their career, or even in terms of like growth and expansion spiritually speaking. So you could feel like your significant other is really advancing spiritually or just growing as a person. Now, on the 23rd of December, there will be a new moon in Capricorn at 1 degrees, and this will be in your 4th house. So the 4th house is connected to your family, your home life, your property circumstances, and your living circumstances. And, you know, this is honestly any living arrangement that you find yourself in, and any property that you own. So because it's a new moon, this is like a new chapter starting or a new beginning. And for some of you, this could be that you are relocating, signing a new lease, buying a house, selling a house, to be fair. Someone could be moving in with you. You could be moving in with them. This is an indicator for expanding your family as well, because the 4th house is connected to family. So you could be falling pregnant. I would say this is more likely if you're a Libra sun, moon, or rising between 0 and 6 degrees. Actually, more so Libra moon and rising, not so much sun. Nevertheless, you know, if you're a Libra sun, and you really resonate with your Libra horoscope, again, don't let me stop you there. And so this new moon in your 4th house can basically just see there being a change in your property circumstances and your living circumstances. So it's like, who's living with you, who's occupying your space. Maybe you are buying an investment property. Maybe there's just a changeover in terms of tenants, even if it's nothing to do with you personally. You could be looking at renovating a property, extending it, or redecorating it, especially because Mercury and Venus are in Capricorn as well. And, you know, maybe you're just buying new furniture for the place or putting up new artwork. And because this new moon is square Jupiter in your 7th house, very tight square, this could, I feel like there will be some kind of, I want to say stress, but there's like a sense of urgency with, you know, moving things along, getting your future plans mapped out. So there could be a sense of urgency from you or someone who wants to move in with you, or maybe you're trying to move things along if you're buying property or selling, or someone wants to buy from you. It just feels like one party who's involved here wants things to move faster than the other party, and we're like trying to play catch up. So on the 29th of December, Mercury is going to station retrograde in Capricorn in your 4th house. So it'll be retrograde between 24 going back to 13 degrees. The Libras who will feel this the most will be those between 13 and 24 degrees. If you're outside of those degrees, you'll still feel it because Mercury's squaring you. So again, we're talking about property and family here. So this can see you ironing out existing issues or discord that you've been experiencing with family members, or flatmates, housemates, tenants. If there are no existing issues, this can represent there being miscommunications which crop up during this period of time, which is the 29th of December through till the 18th of January. Whether you live with someone or alone, doesn't matter. This can see you reconsidering or rethinking your living arrangements. Do I want to live in this suburb or that suburb? Do I want to live in a 2-bedroom apartment or a 1-bedroom apartment? Do I want this person to move in with me? Do I want to rent with them? Do I want to relocate now or do I want to relocate later? What's happening with my living environment and my property circumstances? You know, there can just be a lot of questions and thoughts coming up about where you're living, who you're living with, where you're going to be living in the future. And also, you know, the same can be said with family stuff. You know, what's happening with this family member? Maybe you are spending a lot of time talking to your family. Maybe you're wanting to create boundaries with them. Just remember, we have Mercury retrogrades 3, if not 4 times a year, so it doesn't necessarily need to be a big deal. If you want more information on how this impacted you last time we had Mercury retrograde, I would be casting your mind back to January 2022 this year, okay, because that is the last time Mercury was retrograde in Capricorn. Now, Libras, if you want to know how 2023 is going to unfold for you, you can purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope by clicking on the link in the description box below, and you can purchase that one if you're a Libra rising, sun, or moon. Okay, all 3 horoscopes for your sun, moon, and rising will apply to you on some level. So now let's have a look at Scorpio. Okay, if you are a Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising, on the 8th of December, there will be a full moon in Gemini at 16 degrees and it will be in your 8th house. This full moon is conjunct Mars and Mars is your planetary ruler. So this full moon will impact you the same way that full moons and new moons in Scorpio impact you. Obviously not exactly the same way, but I mean that you're going to feel this as though it's a full moon in your sign or a new moon in your sign. So there's a lot of potency for you as a Scorpio with this one. Being in the 8th house, very emotional time, very psychological time. You may have a very enlightening, mystical or occult experience. This could be personally, whether you're doing a tarot reading for yourself or studying your own astrological chart, or this could be you getting a reading off of someone else. This is actually a profound time for deep healing and having sudden realizations, because the 8th house is connected to our shadow side, that which we want to keep hidden, our secret fears. It's, you know, a very passionate house as well, which is connected to occult topics and sex and anything which is taboo in nature. So some of you could even have a very profound sexual experience around this period of time. Now, on a different note, this can see you having a breakthrough with a psychologist, with understanding where certain fears and blockages come from and how these have been inhibiting you in some way. This could see you actually making money. Okay, so you could receive a lump sum of money, and this could come through to you via mutual resources, whether this is a tax return, maybe your partner is receiving a bonus. You could be making money off of an investment or a joint asset in some instances. You could be receiving an inheritance. Doesn't mean that I'm foreshadowing someone passing away. I myself have received inheritance money, like from my grandpa before he even passed and before he was even sick. So it could just be that you have access to resources that, you know, come your way from someone else, regardless of whether they are alive or not. Someone could simply just be helping you. You know, they could be helping you out financially speaking. So I do expect this to be a very, very emotional time for Scorpios. So, you know, as we approach the 8th of December, plus or minus 1 to 2 weeks, but especially 7th, 8th, 9th of December, you know, just put that in your diary that, hey, I may be feeling a little emotional today, or intense, or maybe you'll just not really want to talk to people around this time. Conversely, you could actually be revealing a secret, becoming closer emotionally with another person, or you could be discovering secret information about another person. Okay, on the 20th of December, Jupiter will be re-entering Aries. And the last time we had Jupiter in Aries was from the 10th of May. So Jupiter in your 6th house, which is connected to work, health, daily habits and routines, you know, this can be like, whoa, my workload, like I've just got like a mound of work to get through. But this can be really positive for you guys in that, you know, you might be like, well, this is going to make me a lot of money with Jupiter ruling over your 2nd house, which is Sagittarius, with Jupiter ruling over your 5th house. Maybe you own your own business, or this is something to do with your creative gifts and your creative talents and hobbies and passions. So you could be monetizing those. You don't have to be, though. To me, this just indicates that there is a real influx of responsibilities and duties. And for some of you, this could be pertaining to owning your own business, or to your children with Jupiter ruling over your 5th house, which is Pisces. Or maybe you are applying for a loan. You could receive a very big loan as well, because the 6th house is connected to loans. To be fair, you could need to engage the services of someone in the legal industry to get some kind of advice. Jupiter will be in Aries from the 20th of December through till mid-May in 2023. So that's like a 5-ish month period there. And I mean, Jupiter will bestow blessings and bring prosperity to any house that it goes through. It doesn't mean that we're going to like the ways in which this occurs, but for some of you, this could be about being liberated from certain responsibilities. Okay, I don't want to work at this workplace anymore. I don't want to have these jobs and responsibilities. This can see some of you finding healthcare professionals or healers of any kind who really know their stuff. So this is actually one of the key indicators for a blessing on your health. Okay, so you can receive healing or reprieve from some kind of health issue or health ailment. Sometimes we do need to wait till Jupiter is finished through that house for us to really see the full effects. But just know that Jupiter through the 6th house is a known transit for bringing blessings to our health in, you know, some respect. Of course, this is a general reading, so you're just going to have to see how this plays out for you on a personal level. Now, on the 23rd of December, there will be a new moon in Capricorn at 1 degrees in your 3rd house, and it will be squaring Jupiter in Aries in your 6th house. I really do love new moons in the 3rd house because it can indicate discovering that there's a new skill or a talent that we want to master. Even though the 5th house is like our creative expression and our creative talents, the 3rd house is this like connection to the mechanical skill. So you may be a fantastic artist, but what tools you're using, whether that's, pencils, sketching, drawing, painting, sculpting, how we're applying those can be seen through the third house. I digress. This can see you starting a new education course. This could be working in a small group. It could be new content that you are producing. So you could be the one who is becoming an educator or a teacher or a trainer. This can be new services that you want to offer, new ideas for your business. You could be starting a new communications piece or writing piece. So that could be an essay, a blog, an article, a docuseries, like a documentary, reporting. Maybe you're starting a new social media channel, maybe it's YouTube. And for some of you, this could be an idea to develop a new app, a website, a piece of technology, a podcast. Obviously, there's like an infinite number of ways that this can come through. Some of you may be purchasing a vehicle around this time. So again, this is going to be the 23rd of December, plus or minus 2 weeks. And for some of you, you could be making a new friend, or maybe even a group of friends, or you could be starting up some kind of new project or hobby with a friend or with a sibling or a relative. So lastly, with this one, because there's a square to Jupiter in your 6th house, this indicates that there is a big commitment that will be required of you when it comes to your time. So maybe this is like, all right, I'm doing monthly horoscopes, but I need to commit this time. Like this new chapter that starts with the new moon requires a lot of energy and effort on your part. And maybe this is going to impact your daily habits and routines. Maybe you're learning a new language and you're like, okay, well, I need to go to class once or twice a week. So somehow this is like a big deal, but it makes demands on your existing schedule and routine. So on the 29th of December, Mercury will station retrograde in Capricorn at 24 degrees in your 3rd house. It'll be retrograde from 24 back to 13 degrees. So we're picking up the same threads of this new moon, okay? It doesn't need to be connected to the new moon, especially given that there's no overlap with the degrees. Nevertheless, this can see you being like, I want to get back in touch with this person. I want to start, going to these groups or these classes again. I want to change classes. I need to resit a test or resit an exam. I want to update my license or certification for something. This can see you hearing from or reaching out to old friends, whether they're from school or work, co-workers, clients. This would be an amazing time for you to get back in touch with people on your newsletter, database, or what have you. So this is a good time to focus on your existing business connections and seeing where you can take those rather than trying to generate new leads. And now, actually, before I continue, let me just say, Scorpio, if you want to know how 2023 is going to unfold for you, you can now purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope by clicking on the link in the description box below. Now I'm going to move on to Sagittarius, but first, I feel like after talking for, how long is this? 2 hours and 15 minutes, that my voice is starting to like, I don't think I thought this through in terms of how long I was going to be doing this segment for. Nevertheless, Sagittarius, let's see. On the 8th of December, you will have the full moon in Gemini at 16 degrees taking place in your 7th house. So this will affect Geminis, whether you're a sun, moon, or rising. Bonus points if you're a Sagittarius at 16 degrees or plus or minus 10 degrees. So from 11 to 25 degrees. Now, this can see there being a certain breakthrough when it comes to your one-to-one connections. For some of you, this could be concretizing a contract or a working relationship or business partnership with another person. For other people, there could be a breaking of said contract. And I'm saying this because, first of all, full moons indicate a situation reaching its peak or reaching a climax. So for some people, this is that new contract coming through, especially because the full moon is conjunct Mars, which is retrograde. So this could have been in the works for a while. But for others of you, it could be like, I'm at the end of the road with this connection. I can't work with this person anymore. I don't want to work with this person anymore. Vice versa. Okay, to be fair, it could be mutual, or the shoe could be on the other foot. Now, on a different level, two things can be true at once, of course. So maybe it's you saying goodbye to one working arrangement to enter into a new one. The same can be said for relationships. Some of you may be coming out of them, others may be going in. I don't want to see anyone in the comments being like, oh, that means everyone. It doesn't mean everyone, okay? If you are in a relationship right now and there's been lots of ups and downs and lots of talk over whether you two should be together, or if you've just been really thinking about where you want this relationship to go, with Mars ruling over your 5th house, which represents romantic relationships, this can see you being like, enough is enough. I tried, we tried, let's just call it what it is and walk away from it. Now, on the other side of the coin, and it's 222 right now, for those of you who have been in something, romantically involved, flirting with someone, we never got off on the right foot, we never got things started, this full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars can be like, let's go for it. Let's try and work this out. This situation can finally reach its culmination. So obviously it can go both ways. Now, with friendships, this can see some of you guys figuring out certain tensions and discord that has existed within certain friendships or one-to-one connections, even business partners and clients and whatnot. But for others of you, you can be like, nah, this is literally too hard basket. I do not want to be friends with this person anymore. I don't like how they've treated me. Because this is a full moon conjunct Mars retrograde in the 7th house, I'm not going to lie to you, Sagittarius, this could be some kind of explosive argument or outburst with another individual. So just know that if you don't want to pop your top off at someone, maybe you'll want to not have this conversation around the 8th of December, plus or minus 1 or 2 days. But sometimes things need to be said, and it can be like a release of that tension. Okay, good. Now at least I know how you feel, or you know how I feel. So there can be like that, moment where you actually get through to another person. Now, you could simply be closing a really important deal or contract, whether this is work related or not, it doesn't matter. It's just sort of like the 7th house is connected to contracts with Mars being retrograde. Maybe this is something that you've been pursuing for a long time and you're like, yes, I'm finally, signing along the dotted line, and now we're getting down to business. So on the 20th of December, Jupiter, which is your ruling planet, is going to re-enter the sign of Aries in your 5th house. Yay. That would be how I would sum this up. Jupiter's your ruling planet. Wherever it goes, whatever it's doing, this represents you and what you're doing. So Jupiter in the 5th house is like, I'm feeling more creative, there's more dating opportunities, I'm experiencing more romance, I have more energy, I feel more motivated, I want to create new things, maybe write a book, work on my hobbies and passions, maybe you want to start your own business. This can see there being a blessing on your romantic life, a blessing on your children, falling pregnant, to be fair, especially if you are a Sagittarius moon or ascendant. And on a different note, Jupiter in the 5th house can just see you having more fun, because the 5th house is connected to fun, recreation, leisure, and trips, entertainment, movies, parties, etc. So there could just be like, a lot of opportunities for you to let your hair down and have fun. And once again, Jupiter will be in Aries in your 5th house from the 20th of December through till mid-May in 2023. So Now let's have a look at the new moon in Capricorn. There will be a new moon in Capricorn in your second house at 1 degrees, and it will be squaring Jupiter, which is your ruling planet, in your 5th house. So there's a lot of stuff in Capricorn while this new moon is occurring. It's the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Pluto, all in your second house. So the second house is connected to your finances, your resources, your property, valuables, possessions. I don't mean property in terms of real estate. I mean like what you own. Now, the second house is also connected to your self-esteem and what you value, your priorities. So this can see you starting a new, generating a new stream of income. So we can just have the concept here. It doesn't mean that you need to like go out and do it, but it can be like, okay, I want to earn money this way, or I want to set a goal to save this amount of money or to earn this amount of money, because Capricorn is all about, setting goals and putting a plan in motion that we want to achieve. So for some of you, this could be connected to you going into business with another person, because Mercury rules over your 7th house. Mercury also rules over your 10th house, so which is Gemini. So this could see you setting new goals when it comes to how much you make from your work. Maybe you want to start your own business. Maybe you start a side business, side hustle, especially because of the square to Jupiter in the 5th house, which is connected to owning your own business. And for some of you, you could be making an important new property purchase, or an important new purchase, just generally speaking, but it definitely could be connected to property as well, because we have the ruler of your 4th house being squared. Now, on a different level, this can see you setting new, losing my words as I get to 2.5 hours of filming. It's like setting new boundaries or intentions when it comes to how much you honor yourself, your own sense of self-worth, what you're willing to tolerate, what you're not willing to tolerate, especially if this is connected to relationships of all kinds, romantic, friendships, and otherwise. So this could really be on your mind with this new moon in your 2nd house, and maybe you're just setting higher standards for yourself during this period of time. So it is a really good new moon when it comes to finances, because there's just so much energy behind wanting to make things work. And the square to Jupiter in the 5th house is like, I'm motivated, I want to do it, this is going to benefit me, this is going to see me acting on my own creative gifts and talents. Now, on the 29th of December, Mercury will be stationing retrograde in Capricorn in your 2nd house. So it'll be retrograde from 24 degrees back to 13 degrees, and it will be retrograde from the 29th of December through till the 18th of January. So this can see you, again, really focusing on money. And just let me tell you, the second half of December through till mid to end of January, you'll be like, money, 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 money. What am I doing with my resources? What am I spending money on? Am I wasting money here? Do I need to rebudget? Do I need to move some of my assets around? Do I need to open new bank accounts and close other bank accounts, or refinance my property, or certain loans that you have? So Mercury retrograde in the 2nd house can see you really changing up how much you're spending on certain things, whether these are services that you offer, subscriptions that you have subscribed to, things for your business, okay, especially if you own your own business. So Mercury retrograde in the 2nd house can see you reevaluating what's important to me, what are my priorities, how much am I worth, in a business sense, what would I need in the long term financially speaking, how much money would I need to save up to be able to act on this plan. And if people owe you money, it can be returned to you during this period of time. I have to be honest, this is an indicator that your paycheck may be delayed, or they may give you the wrong amount. So just, keep your eye out for that and maybe budget accordingly. Don't rely on receiving your paycheck on time between the 29th of December and the 18th of January, because it could be delayed. So Sagittarius, if you want to know how 2023 is going to play out for you, you can purchase your yearly horoscope for 2023 by clicking on the link in the description box below to the website there. Now let's have a look at Capricorn. So we've got 3 signs left. So Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And you can watch this if you're a Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Capricorn, on the 8th of December, there will be a full moon in Gemini at 16 degrees in your 6th house. So this one will be conjunct Mars, which will be retrograde at the time. So for many of you guys, you'll be completing some kind of work project, wrapping up a work responsibility or duty. You may be letting go of an old habit. This could be a bad habit that you kind of hate doing, or it could be that you are just changing up your daily routines and daily habits. Maybe if you were always walking your dog twice a day, you're like, okay, I need my partner to walk my dog, in the morning, and I'll do the night. Or maybe you're going to get a dog walker. That's just like a random example, but to be fair, the 6th house is connected to pets. Now, on a different level, this can see you discovering the root cause of some kind of health ailment or health issue, because the 6th house is very much connected to work. So this could see you receiving maybe test results, or getting in touch with a healthcare practitioner or a healer who, points you in the right direction. Or you're like, oh my God, I know why I've been experiencing this rash. It's because I have an allergy to gluten. Do you know what I mean? So there could just be like this illumination that comes through. Now, for you guys, Mars rules over your 4th house, which is connected to property and family and living circumstances, and it also rules over your 11th house, which is connected to long-term goals, dreams, and your friends as well. So this full moon conjunct Mars in your 6th house could see you resolving some kind of conflict with a family member or with a friend. This could see you receiving a loan for property, or this could be a business loan. To be fair, this could be something that you've tried to obtain for a while, or you could actually be paying off a loan. And it doesn't need to be business or property. It could just be like, okay, I no longer owe this person or this institution any money. And for some of you, you could have been trying to maybe adopt a pet, or I don't know, maybe you're going through a breeder, no shade, just whatever it is. It could be that you are finally receiving this pet into your home, especially because Mars is retrograde. So it's like something that's been in motion for a while. And, this would be a good time to look at just taking your pet to the vet for a checkup as well, given that the 6th house does rule over pets. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong. I'm just saying that, if this is something that you have been putting off, this would be a good time to move forward with that. Now, for some of you, you could finally be saying goodbye to a work project that's really been dragging on, or a work responsibility. It doesn't even need to be connected to work. It could even be a duty or responsibility to a family member. Or to a long-term or large-scale project that you've been working on, and you're like, oh, thank God, I don't have to do this anymore. Now, let's have a look at Jupiter entering Aries in your 4th house. This is amazing. Jupiter will bring a blessing to any house that it goes through. The ways in which it bestows a blessing will change person to person, depending on your own personal birth chart. But this can see you purchasing a property, relocating abroad, purchasing property abroad. Someone could be moving in with you. Now let's just check. So Jupiter for you guys rules over your 11th house, which is Sagittarius, and it also rules over Pisces, which is your 3rd house. Interesting. So for some of you, you could have friends moving in with you, or you could be moving in with them. It could be siblings, or it could actually be relatives as well. So on a different note, your family could be expanding. Maybe you're falling pregnant. Maybe someone in your family is having a child. Now, on a different level, this could see you renovating your home, extending your home. If there's been issues in your family, whether this is like with your parents or with your children, this can see there being a blessing bestowed upon these individuals in your life. So maybe they're going to be receiving some kind of healing or blessing. Jupiter in the 4th house can simply see you really enjoying the time that you spend at home. You could really be spending heaps of time at home. You could be learning about your ancestry, learning about your family. You could actually be getting in touch with family members, especially if they have been out of contact with you, or if they maybe even live in a different country to you. And even if you're not necessarily relocating to a foreign country, this could see you having an opportunity to stay in a foreign country, even if it's not necessarily in the long term. And I would say that this would be either with friends, siblings, or relatives. Now, we are going to have a new moon in Capricorn at 1 degrees in your 1st house, and it's going to be squaring Jupiter in your 4th house. Anytime we have a new moon in our sign, this indicates a new chapter starting for us. So first of all, the Capricorns who will be the most impacted will be those between 0 degrees and 5 degrees. Bonus points if you're a 1 degree Capricorn, sun, moon, or rising. Nevertheless, you're all going to feel it. So the 1st house in astrology rules over our physical body, our physical appearance, and how we carry ourselves, our persona, etc. So a new moon in the 1st house can be like, I'm dressing differently, I'm getting a haircut, I'm doing a makeover, I want to take my life in a different direction. Especially, if you're a Capricorn sun, this could be in connection to your career. I want to try something new. I want to go by a different title. I want to introduce new products or services. I want to take on a position of leadership. I want to be known for XYZ in my career. If you're a Capricorn moon, this could be becoming a parent, becoming a grandparent, starting a family, starting an important new relationship in your life, new goals that you're setting with respect to your living circumstances, family, property, a new chapter starting if you're a Capricorn moon in relation to your emotional health and well-being, how much you're prioritizing yourself, how much you're indulging in self-care, how much you're putting yourself first, focusing on your emotional health, grounding yourself, and just doing what you need to do to get by and live a happy life. Because there's so much energy in Capricorn with the new moon, sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, and Pluto, this is a really transformative beginning, a new chapter starting for you guys. And it also trines Uranus in Taurus in your 5th house. So for some of you, this could be, connected to romance, children, creative hobbies, passions, gardening, owning your own business. There's so many different ways that this new moon can play out. If you're a new moon, if you are a Capricorn rising or ascendant, all the above can apply for you guys. Now, Mercury will station retrograde in Capricorn on the 29th of December. It'll be retrograde from 24 to 13 degrees. So Capricorn, sun, moon, or risings between 13 and 24 degrees will feel this the most strongly. If you're outside of those degrees, don't worry, you'll still feel it. Okay, so now let's go through how that can play out for you guys. So again, reconsidering your appearance, how you present, how you dress, the lipstick that you wear, the clothes that you wear, how you do your hair. This could even be a question of you reconsidering your identity, so like how you identify, sexual identity, sexual preferences. For some of you, this could be a time where you're really, really busy, hearing from lots of friends, hearing from co-workers, hearing from like people just want your attention. You're going to be really highly in demand. So lots of people could be trying to catch up with you, checking if you're available. All plans that you have, meetings, deadlines, etc., are very much subject to change between the 29th of December and the 18th of January. So I would be willing to bet that 95% of meetings, business meetings, social engagements that you or plans that you have between that period of time will be subject to change. Whether you're late to the meeting, someone else is late, someone's got to reschedule, these things are just likely to change for you. And the same can be said for travel plans, because Mercury rules over your 9th house. So Capricorn, pretty much Christmas time till the end of December, it's go, go, go. It's all about you. Also, it's Capricorn season from just before Christmas. So there's just going to be a lot of focus and a lot of really powerful shifts and life events that are occurring for you from the second half of December, but certainly from Christmas time onwards and through till January. So if you want to know how 2023 is going to impact you, you can purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope by clicking on the link in the description box below. And now let's move on to Aquarius. So this is for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and risings. First and foremost, on the 8th of December, there will be a full moon in Gemini at 16 degrees, and this will be in your 5th house. So the 5th house is connected to romance, dating, your creative hobbies, passions, and gifts. It is a very fun house, if I can put it that way. It's connected to socializing, vacations, trips. Yes, the 9th house is travel, but the 5th house would be like, going on a vacation with friends, or what you do to relax and unwind and have fun. So a full moon in Gemini in your 5th house, and also conjunct Mars, could indicate that you guys are, getting into a relationship for some of you, especially because this full moon is conjunct Mars, which is retrograde, and Mars rules over your 10th house, being Scorpio. So this is like, okay, maybe there's a status change that comes through here, whether that's getting into a relationship. For some of you, you could be exiting a relationship. It just depends on your own personal birth chart. Ultimately though, the 5th house is about having a good time, having fun, and with this full moon in the 5th house, for some of you, you could start dating again. You could finally find out where your crush stands, like if they like you or not, or maybe you're going to feel like you have some clarification around your personal feelings towards this other person. So for some of you, you could be launching a new business. You could be launching a product or a service or something to do with your existing business. If you have children, this could see you witnessing some kind of new chapter that's starting in your child's life. And for others of you, you could actually be falling pregnant during this period of time. With the full moon in your 5th house, maybe you are finishing up a creative project or a body of work. You could be finishing up writing as well. So this could be a communications piece, or maybe like a documentary or a docuseries, just as an example. And on the 20th of December, Jupiter is going to enter Aries. It's actually going to re-enter Aries in your 3rd house. So this can see you basically enjoying more time with friends, being more social, making new friends, being connected to people through like friends of friends, especially because Jupiter rules over your 11th house, which is Sagittarius. So you could feel like you're meeting like-minded individuals, or there are just these opportunities for you to socialize and enjoy yourself. You could be signing up or recommencing actually, learning a new skill or a new talent, or you could be honing your existing skills and talents further. This can see you receiving some kind of qualification, diploma, certification, or a license. It's not going to be on the 20th of December. It's going to be while Jupiter is in Aries in your 3rd house, which is from the 20th of December through till mid-May in 2023. So you could be embarking on that process. Some of you could be purchasing a new vehicle, especially because Jupiter rules over your 2nd house, which is to do with your finances. So you could be spending money on a new vehicle. Okay, so for others of you, this could be a time where there's a lot of short travel trips, whether that's interstate or, could even be within your neighborhood. The reason why I'm saying that is because the 3rd house represents your local community and neighborhood, but, Jupiter is a planet which represents travel. So, take that any which way you will. Jupiter through the 3rd house can actually see you learning new skills and becoming quite masterful at these. So you could become an expert. You could be leveling up an existing skill by studying it further or practicing it further. If you are in sales, commerce, technology, IT, something 3rd housey, or writing as well, communications, this will be a very, very, very busy time for you. Creatively, sales, clients, deals, projects, you name it. This will be a very fruitful 5-month period for you, especially if you are a writer. Now, on the 23rd of December, there will be a new moon in Capricorn in your 12th house at 1 degrees, and it will be squaring Jupiter in Aries in your 3rd house. So the 12th house is a very psychological house. It's the unseen. It's what we don't really have a conscious awareness of. It represents the dream realm. It also represents isolated spaces, as well as it being a very creative house in astrology. So just a few different ways that this can play out is that you may be starting a new creative project. This could be to do with acting, film, photography, writing, poetry as well, music, learning a new musical instrument. You could be seeing a tarot reader or an astrologer, or someone who does hypnotherapy or past life regressions. So, there's a real spiritual bent to this particular new moon. You could just develop a really keen interest in these areas. Some of you could start meditating or practicing yoga, and you could be planning some kind of retreat or planning to attend a retreat of sorts. To be fair, this is also connected to rehab as well. So maybe you are looking at voluntarily going into a rehabilitation retreat. Is that what they're called? Probably not. Facility, I should say. I beg your pardon. So with this new moon being in your 12th house, you can feel very, very creatively inspired during this period of time. You can even feel like you're connecting to the other side or something unseen, like receiving messages from the universe. Not everyone believes in, let's say, psychic work or mediumship, but you could be exposed to it, even if you don't pursue it or do anything with that. So lastly, on the 29th of December, Mercury is going to station retrograde in Capricorn at 24 degrees, and it will be going retrograde back to 13 degrees. So again, it's a very psychological house. The 12th house is connected to self-sabotaging. So some of you will be having a conscious awareness or receiving downloads of information when it comes to, hey, have I been self-sabotaging? Am I actually, the one to blame for certain things not going right? Or have I been projecting certain things onto other people? I'm not putting that on you. I'm just saying that Mercury retrograde in the 12th house can see you having sudden realizations. With Mercury ruling over your 5th house, which is connected to dating and romance and children and, creative hobbies and passions, this could very well be connected to that. Like, am I afraid of being vulnerable with another person? With Mercury ruling over your 8th house, which is Virgo, this will very much be about emotional intimacy, sexual intimacy, romantic connections. Whether there's someone in the picture or not, it doesn't matter. You'll be focusing on these things. How can I improve this relationship? Why did that relationship not work out? What can I do to improve my chances of meeting someone? And I'm not saying you have to meet someone, but your romantic life or your sexual life will be on your mind, okay? Whether that you have one or not, whether you want one or not, these will be things that you're ruminating on. And for some of you, you could start talking to an ex in secret, because the 12th house is very hidden. For others of you, you could be returning to former creative projects and ideas that you had, tweaking them, revising them, or just like, maybe you had a half-finished artwork piece and you're like, hey, I'm going to finish this off now. Okay, so this would be a great time for editing any creative body of work. And some of you may be wanting to go back to see an astrologer, a tarot reader, a psychic or a clairvoyant, someone that you've seen before. Obviously, this is somewhat contradictory to what I said about the new moon in Capricorn, but just remember, the new moon is like, we're starting something new. This Mercury retrograde is like, I'm revisiting something from the past. So both things can be true at once. You could go see a new tarot reader and still go get a reading with your old tarot reader. Both things can occur, obviously. So Mercury retrogrades in the 12th house are very illuminating periods of time where we understand what our fears are, what our subconscious blockages are, why we are not moving forward creatively, and how we can not let the monkey mind run rampant in the background. So Aquarius, if you want to know more about your 2023 yearly horoscope, if you want to know what's happening there, you can purchase your 2023 yearly horoscope by clicking on the link in the description box below. Thanks for sticking around. Now, last but not least, Pisces. So Pisces, sun, moon, and risings. This horoscope will apply to you. So there's a lot happening for Pisces because the full moon is in your 4th house and Jupiter is your ruling planet, which is changing signs. So a full moon in the 4th house, especially being conjunct Mars, can indicate that there is a situation with respect to your family life or your property and living circumstances, which is coming full circle, reaching a culmination point or its peak. It can be ending a chapter here. So for some of you, this can indicate buying a property, selling a property, having new tenants move in or old tenants move out, finishing renovations on your property, having someone move in with you, moving out of someone's place, signing a new lease or an old lease ending. Obviously, there's like a whole different many ways in which this can play out for you. This can indicate some of you falling pregnant. The Pisceans who will be most affected by this will be those around 16 degrees plus or minus 5 degrees, so 11 to 21 degrees, but nevertheless, you're still going to feel this full moon in your 4th house. So some of you can be having some kind of realization when it comes to your family, whether this is wanting to be closer with them, wanting your relationship to look differently, with your family, whether this is like how you speak to your mom, how you're parenting your own children. There can just be like a really big realization about either what your children need or what your inner child needs. Okay, so for some of you, with the full moon in the 4th house, this can see you letting go of emotional baggage, letting go of emotional trauma. And that doesn't mean you have to forgive and forget. It can just be feeling like you've reached a certain level of peace in your life where you're like, okay, I'm at peace with this situation. I feel like I can move on. I feel like this isn't impacting me as much as it was anymore. So this can see you trying really hard to change what your values are, or really elevate your own self-esteem with Mars ruling over your second house with respect to family dynamics and your family situation. So for some of you, this could be finding out certain information about your parents, your ancestry, loved ones, people that you're living with, whether this is them revealing information to you, or you stumbling across it, or deliberately doing your own research. I feel like a lot of illumination and understanding about your family and your ancestors can come through around the 8th of December, 8th of December, plus or minus 2 weeks. On the 20th of December, Jupiter is going to enter the sign of Aries in your second house. And Jupiter was already in Aries from the 10th of May through till I think the end of October. So for some of you, this is really positive on a financial level, because you can be earning more money, making more money, generating a new stream of income, making money from your own efforts or through multiple different avenues. You could receive a pay rise with work with Jupiter ruling over your fourth house. You could be procuring new valuables or new possessions. You could even be teaching yourself about the world of finance, because Jupiter going through your second house is like you receiving an education in this department. Maybe you're finding that you can actually save more money, or there are different ways that you can really be earning money, essentially. So for some of you guys, this can see you coming into possession of certain important artifacts or antiques, or certain sacred texts, or something which is of a divinatory or of an occult background, let's say. Now, Jupiter is going to be in Aries from the 20th of December through till through till mid-May in 2023. So it's not like as soon as Jupiter hits your second house, you're like, hey, I'm making money now. For some of you, it could be this 5-month process. It could be that you have to wait till mid-May to see, a pay increase come through, or to start earning money from a new career opportunity or a business venture. Now, let's have a look at the new moon in Capricorn. So that will take place on the 23rd of December. So this new moon will be at 1 degrees in your 11th house. The 11th house is connected to friends, long-term goals and dreams. This is connected to passive forms of income, residual forms of income. So for you guys, this can see you setting new goals or starting a new chapter or a journey with respect to one of those things. Some of you may be joining a new community or forming a new community. Some of you may be making new friends. Some of you may be actualizing a new goal or long-term dream for the future. You may be working on a way to instate certain passive forms of income or residual forms of income, like rents, royalties, and dividends, especially because the new moon is making a tight square to Jupiter in your second house. This can see you working on a large, complex, interconnected invention, innovation system, developing a website, an app. Some of you could be working on securing investors for your business, or looking at applying for a Kickstarter program, just as an example. Some of you could be, I lost my train of thought there. Expanding your wider network, whether you are joining certain groups or communities where it's like, okay, this is going to allow me to connect to more people, or I'm going to join a group or a community where I can speak to people who can help me, whether this is in a business sense, or, you know, some of you could be forming new humanitarian ideals or joining social justice causes. You could be working collectively as a group or starting up some kind of community program. And lastly, for the month, on the 29th of December, Mercury will station retrograde in Capricorn at 24 degrees, and this will be in your 11th house. So, and it'll be going from 24 back to 13 degrees. So this can see you reconnecting to old friends, reaching out to former acquaintances, or vice versa. This can see you revising certain goals and projects, making adjustments and tweaking them. If you're involved in, let's say, a large-scale event or the planning of a conference or a webinar, you may have to change the date, change the venue, change the circumstances in which these are going to take place. There could be some changes that come through with respect to your collaborations with other people in a business sense. So maybe when you're going to collaborate together, we'll be shifting or changing. Some of you could be, to be fair, trying to nut out certain disagreements or discord that you've been experiencing with friends, but you can really get on the same page here. And also, with Mercury ruling over your 4th house, which is connected to rent, so rent money, the fee that you charge could be changing. Your tenants could be late with the payment, or the actual contracts that you have could be subject to change. And also the same could be said for if you have a long-term rental agreement set up, there could be some changes here. Ultimately though, Mercury retrogrades in the 11th house can be fruitful for reconnecting to people who we used to be friends with, or who, you know, our network can expand further through them. And it can allow us to see where there are certain pitfalls in our existing set of plans. So Pisces, if you'd like to know how if you'd like to know how your yearly horoscope for 2023 is going to play out for you, you can purchase yours by clicking on the link in the description box below. Thank you everyone who stuck around in this 3-hour long live. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for all your support, and I'm wishing you many, many blessings for December 2022. This is the last horoscope for the year, so enjoy.